Fuzzy clustering in Navure. Fuzzy clustering is an algorithmic approach that allows data points to belong to multiple clusters simultaneously, assigning degrees of membership rather than strict assignments. We will illustrate the application of fuzzy clustering to a data named satellite NC, which is located in the test data repository. It contains the reads in 4 bands of 8,572 pixels of a satellite image. Once the data file is open, click the Multivariate tab and click the F-Clustering button. Select all variables and drag and drop them into the Traits panel. The algorithm allows for grouping factors. In this example, we don't have a grouping factor, but if we did, all observations that belong to the same class defined by the grouping factors would be summarized before entering the analysis. In this scenario, the instances that are grouped are the classes defined by the grouping factors. Now click the blue play arrow. A dialog appears. It has 2 panels. The left one is dimmed because we didn't specify any grouping factor. It contains a list of possible ways to summarize the observations of each class, defined by the grouping factors. By default, the summary is the mean. In the panel on the right, there are several options. When Save Classification is checked, new columns are added to the dataset, one containing the cluster number to which each data point has been assigned, the other a membership degree index. If Standardize is checked, each variable entering the analysis will be standardized. Do not uncheck this option unless you want the scale of each variable to act as a weighting factor during classification. If Generate Sequence is checked and the number of clusters is greater than 2, the algorithm will generate classifications for 2, 3, and so on until the specified number of clusters is reached. If you don't know how many clusters to create, but you prefer a data-driven decision, ask to create anything from 2 to a large number of clusters, but not that many. For demonstration purposes, we will only create 4 clusters, so we will simply change the number of clusters to 4 and leave the Generate Sequence option checked. Now let's proceed with the OK button. This algorithm is not as efficient as k-means. K-means will produce results in a fraction of the time it takes the fuzzy clustering algorithm. This is because, unlike traditional clustering methods, fuzzy clustering provides a soft partitioning of the data, allowing for instances with mixed characteristics. This flexibility allows for a more nuanced representation of complex relationships within the data, making it suitable for applications where there is ambiguity or overlapping patterns. In practice, it will take several minutes to finish. So we will pause the recording until we get the results. We are here again with the resulting output. To determine the optimal number of groups, you can either rely on your preconceived notion or seek guidance from the data itself. It's important to note that the ultimate decision rests with you. To assist in this decision-making process, you can refer to the Cluster Validity Index table, which provides various criteria for selecting the best number of clusters from the ones you have generated. If you favor the silhouette index, it suggests opting for 2 clusters since a value close to 1 is considered better. This guideline also applies to the fuzzy silhouette index and partition coefficient. However, when considering the partition entropy, a value as close to 0 as possible is preferable. If we go back to the data table, we will see that several new columns have been added, named K2MD_K2, and so on. We can quickly visualize how many data points the groups we found contain by clicking the Graphics tab, clicking the Sector button, and selecting Long Format. In the dialog that appears, set K2 and drag it to the Sectors panel. Then press the blue play arrow. A sector chart appears. Let's increase the font size and change the sector labels to include the number of cases. To do this, select the Series tab at the top right of the window, then select Label Type and choose the last option. Cluster 2, with 84% of the cases, contains 7,170 data points. For a more impressive presentation, you can move the smaller sector, add a 3D effect, check the ring visualization, change the font color for more contrast, and finally can move the ring to the position you like best.